The first time, I realized something was wrong. It wasn't a fight. It wasn't even a word. It was silence. Not the comforting kind that happens between people who know each other well. The kind that says, "I'm here, even without words." No. This was the kind of silence that scratched at your skin, made your breath catch. The kind that screamed even louder than shouting ever could. It was a Sunday morning. Late spring. The scent of brewed coffee drifted through the kitchen, mingling with the faint sound of birdsong outside the window. Sunlight painted golden stripes across the hardwood floors. Everything looked perfect. Clara sat at the table, her fingers scrolling endlessly on her phone, lips curved in a smile that wasn't meant for me. She hadn't noticed me watching her. Or maybe she had, and just didn't care. I poured her a cup of coffee. 2 sugars, no cream. The way she always liked it. When I placed it beside her, she looked up, briefly, and said, "Thanks," without meeting my eyes. I used to live for that smile. Now it felt like a receipt for a service rendered. We had been married for 11 years. I loved her more than I thought it was possible to love anyone. She was my best friend. My partner. The woman I dreamed of growing old with. Or at least, I thought she was. She used to laugh at my dumb jokes. Dance with me in the kitchen. Reach for my hand under the covers. Now, she pulled away when I touched her. Closed the door when she changed. Jumped when I walked into the room unexpectedly. Still, I made excuses. Work stress. Hormones. Burnout. I didn't want to believe what my gut was already screaming. I held on to the small things. The way she used to kiss my forehead when I was sick. The time she cried watching me build our daughter's crib. The way she once told me I made her feel safe in a world that rarely was. I thought if I just kept showing up, kept being kind, kept loving her hard enough, she'd come back to me. God, I was such a fool. It started with her phone. Always upside down. Always clutched like a lifeline. Always buzzing silently with messages she never mentioned. I wasn't the jealous type. Never had been. Trust, to me, was the foundation of everything. But trust without truth is just hope. And hope, I was starting to learn, can be dangerous. I asked her gently one night, "Is everything okay between us?" She blinked, paused, then nodded. "Of course. Just tired." Tired. Always tired. We stopped going out. Stopped watching our favorite shows. Stopped having sex. When I tried to kiss her goodnight, she turned her face. And one night, when I reached for her in bed, she whispered, "Don't. I'm not in the mood." Again. Then added, under her breath, "You never take a hint." That sentence. It rang in my ears like a bell in a funeral mass. I didn't say a word. I rolled over. Stared into the darkness. Felt the ice spread through my chest, slow and sharp. That was the moment I knew. Knew, but still couldn't accept. A week later, I came home early from work. I wasn't trying to catch her in anything. Honestly, I was just hoping to surprise her with dinner and maybe a sliver of affection. The house was quiet. Her phone was on the kitchen counter, unlocked for once. That's the only reason I looked. I swear. I didn't expect anything. I didn't want to find anything. But there it was. A message from a name I didn't recognize. Just one sentence. "Last night was perfect. You looked incredible naked. Can't stop thinking about it." My legs buckled. I had to sit down. I read it twice. 3 times. I checked the message thread, photos, emojis, timestamps. The intimacy was undeniable. She had been cheating on me. For weeks. Maybe months. I sat there, numb, until I heard the garage door. She was home. I stood, phone in hand. My heart pounded in my throat. When she walked in and saw me holding it, her face didn't show guilt. Or shame. Just irritation. "Are you serious, Thomas? Going through my phone?" No denial. No panic. Just cold defiance. I wanted to scream, wanted to smash something, wanted to collapse to my knees and ask why. But I didn't. I placed the phone gently on the table, looked her in the eyes. I just needed to know. Then I turned and walked out. No shouting, no accusations, just silence. Again, that night, I didn't sleep. I sat on the edge of our bed, no, her bed now, and stared at the wall. She had already emotionally left me. Now I had to decide whether I'd let her take the rest, my dignity, my home, my future. I thought about revenge, screaming at her, telling her parents, posting screenshots online, all the things people do when they're betrayed. But I didn't want to fight dirty. I wanted to end this like the man I still believed I was, with precision, with dignity, but not without consequences. She had made her move. Now it was time for mine. In the days that followed, I didn't confront her again. We shared the same roof, the same space, but not the same world. She acted like nothing had happened, still made her morning coffee, still scrolled through her phone, still ignored me. She had no idea what I was doing, that I had stopped being the man she could dismiss. I met with a lawyer, quietly, discreetly, a family law specialist named Irene Harker. Old school, sharp-eyed, and no nonsense. I told her everything, not just about the affair, about the years of being minimized, about the gaslighting, the manipulation, the lies. She didn't interrupt me, just took notes, then said, "We don't need rage to destroy a lie. We need records, witnesses, and time." I nodded. "Can I win?" I asked. She looked me dead in the eye. "You already have. You just don't know it yet." It was Clara's father who surprised me most. One morning, I got a text from Henry, a retired high school principal who had once taught me how to fish. He asked to meet for coffee. I assumed he wanted to defend his daughter. I almost didn't go, but I did, and he looked more tired than I'd ever seen him. He stirred his coffee like it had offended him, then finally said, "I know she's cheating on you, Tom." I blinked. He sighed. "She came to us weeks ago, talked about separating, told us you were emotionally unstable, that you were controlling, cold." He looked up. "But I know you. I've watched you care for her for over a decade. Watched you raise those kids with more grace than most men I know. And I also know Clara. She's changed." I said nothing. Henry placed a small folder on the table. "She thinks she's clever, but she's sloppy. This is a printout of financial transfers, funds she pulled from your shared accounts into a private one under her sister's name. Dates match the timeline of her affair." I opened the folder. My hand shook. Everything was there. Evidence. Hard numbers. He leaned closer. "I'm not doing this to save her. I'm doing this to protect you. You deserve better." Henry wasn't the only one. Over the next 2 weeks, people came forward. Friends, neighbors, even one of Clara's co-workers. Each of them said the same thing in different ways. "We thought something was off. She's been bragging about a new life upgrade. She told people you were too boring to keep up." Bit by bit, the truth unfolded like a puzzle dumped on the floor. And piece by piece, I put together a picture she never imagined I could. I wasn't just going to protect myself legally. I was going to show her, and everyone else, who I really was. Not the silent husband in the background. Not the man she could erase with a fake narrative. I was going to take back my story. On my terms. It was Clara who brought up the divorce first. We were sitting at the kitchen table. Same table where I used to surprise her with candlelit dinners. Same table where our kids used to do their homework while we held hands under it. She didn't look at me, just flipped through some mail, then said casually, "I think we should talk to a mediator. I'll keep the house, obviously, and we can split the savings. You can keep your car." My car. The one she used every weekend while I stayed home fixing the sink or mowing the lawn. I stared at her. She didn't flinch. She really believed I'd just roll over and vanish from her life like a polite ghost. So I smiled. Calm. Easy. Sure, I said. Let's go the civil route. I think that's best. She blinked, maybe surprised by how agreeable I was, maybe smug about how easy this was going to be. But I wasn't done. There's just one thing, I added, my voice calm. Before we file, I've already retained legal counsel. You'll be hearing from her soon. That was the first crack. The first time she looked nervous. By the time the hearing rolled around, I had everything. Bank statements showing her secret siphoning. Messages confirming the affair. Testimonies from friends and family. A journal I had kept for the past 2 years, documenting everything she had said and done. I didn't raise my voice. Didn't cry. Didn't beg. When she tried to speak, the judge silenced her. When her lawyer tried to object, my attorney dropped another piece of documented evidence. She looked trapped. Not by me. By her own lies. At one point, when it became clear she was losing, Clara looked at me across the courtroom. There was no anger in her eyes. No remorse. Just disbelief. She had underestimated me. She thought kindness meant weakness. That love meant submission. But love doesn't make you weak. It makes you strong enough to walk away. The ruling gave me joint custody, majority rights to the house, and a judgment for spousal misconduct. She got what she asked for, freedom, but not the kind she expected. Her lover? Gone 2 weeks later. Her friends? Most stayed silent or quietly sided with me. Even her mother called to apologize. Said she didn't raise her daughter to be like that. And Henry? He took me fishing the following weekend. We didn't talk about it. We didn't have to. The house felt quieter after she moved out. Not empty, just peaceful. Like the air no longer held its breath. I started opening the curtains again. Started cooking real food instead of heating up leftovers. Started noticing the sound of birds in the morning, not just the silence she left behind. It wasn't healing yet, but it was something. The kids adjusted faster than I expected. Leo started asking to stay over more often. Maya, who had grown distant during the last year, texted me late one night. I'm sorry for how I treated you, Dad. I didn't know what she was saying about you wasn't true. I cried that night. Not from sadness. From release. The weight I had carried for years, of not being enough, not being seen, was lifting. And it left behind someone I hadn't met in a long time. Myself. Her name was Annabelle. We met in the most unremarkable way, in line at the grocery store, both reaching for the same bag of coffee beans. She laughed. I apologized. She said, No man who drinks Guatemalan dark roast can be all bad. I smiled. For the first time in months, it didn't feel forced. We talked. Casual. Natural. Turns out she was an illustrator, did children's books. Soft voice. Gentle humor. Kind, without trying. I didn't tell her my story. Not right away. She didn't ask. She liked me, as I was. Not because I provided something. Not because I filled a role. But because I listened. Because I saw her. And slowly, I let her see me. There was one moment, maybe the real turning point, that cemented everything. We were walking downtown after dinner, passing by a small bookstore. In the window, a new release. How to Move On When They Moved On Without You. Annabelle stopped. Oof. That title cuts deep, she joked. Then looked at me. You okay? I nodded. Then shook my head. No, but I'm getting there. She smiled. Good. Don't rush it. Broken things deserve more care, not less. She didn't try to fix me. She just walked beside me. That was all I needed. About a year after the divorce, I wrote Clara a letter. Not to send. Just to write. It said, "You hurt me in ways you'll never understand. You mocked the best parts of me, twisted my kindness into a joke. You thought I wouldn't fight because I never raised my voice. But I didn't stay silent because I was weak. I stayed silent because I believed in you. And when that belief died, so did the version of me that let you win. You don't get to keep what you broke. You don't get to rewrite the story. I didn't lose everything. You did. I kept my dignity, my soul, my peace, and now someone else gets the version of me you never deserved." I folded the letter, burned it in the fireplace. The ashes danced in the air for a second, then disappeared. That was enough. 2 years later, I married Annabelle. The ceremony was quiet. A lakeside cabin, our closest friends, the kids in matching gray suits and floral dresses. Maya walked me down the aisle. Leo gave the toast. He taught me what strength looks like. Not the loud kind, the patient kind. The kind that walks through fire and comes out carrying others. I wept openly, and when Annabelle took my hand, whispered, "I love you," like a promise, not a currency. I believed her, because this time, love wasn't conditional, wasn't performative, wasn't a transaction. It was real, rooted, and earned. They say revenge is best served cold, but I learned something different. Revenge isn't slamming doors or screaming, "Look what you lost." It's not making them suffer. Real revenge is silence, is building a life so full, so honest, so grounded in peace, that the people who tried to destroy you have to watch from the outside. They have to live with the knowledge that what they broke didn't stay broken. It rebuilt, stronger, and this time without them. I didn't send wedding invites to Clara's family, but her parents came anyway. Not to the ceremony. They waited until the reception was winding down. I saw them standing by the tree line, awkward, quiet. Clara's mother approached me first. "We heard everything," she said softly. "I don't know what to say. I'm sorry feels too small." I nodded. "Thank you for saying it." Then her father, a man who once told me, "Toughen up, son," during one of our early holidays, looked me in the eye and said, "You were the best man she'll ever know. That's what makes this hurt more, because she can't undo it. But you did right." He handed me a small envelope. Inside, a photo of me and Maya when she was 4, sitting on my shoulders. The back read, "To the one who never stopped carrying us, even when we didn't deserve it." I didn't say anything. I didn't need to. Sometimes grace is enough. Clara never reached out during the divorce. Never once asked to meet. Let her lawyer do the talking. Until one night, 9 months after the court's final decision, I got a voicemail. I don't expect a call back. I just wanted to say, you were right. I traded real love for attention. I burned down the only home I ever had. Everyone left. He did too. I don't sleep well anymore. I deleted it. Not out of cruelty, but because I didn't want to carry her pain anymore. That chapter had closed. That weight wasn't mine now. We had a daughter, Annabelle and I. Named her Lily. She has her mother's laugh in my eyes. She calls Leo and Maya her Big Littles. And every Sunday, we have pancakes and watercolor sessions. No phones. No tension. Just music, syrup, and joy. Sometimes Leo brings over a girl. Sometimes Maya paints in the kitchen. Sometimes I sit on the porch with a coffee and just breathe. Not to escape. Not to hide. Just to enjoy the life I built. After the storm. Back when I stood in that kitchen. As Clara said, "Don't touch me tonight." I thought I'd never smile again. I thought the world ended in whispers. In turned backs. In eyes that no longer saw you. But now I know. Sometimes the most devastating words are the ones that set you free. Because that night didn't break me. It woke me up. If you're reading this and wondering if kindness is weakness, If trust means you're a fool, let me tell you, no. It takes strength to stay gentle in a cruel world. It takes wisdom to walk away without shouting. It takes power to rebuild with dignity, while others rot in the mess they made. They thought I was easy to discard, but I was just quiet, while I gathered every broken piece and turned them into a life they'll never be part of again. That's not revenge. That's freedom. And it's the best ending I could ever write.